Congressman and presidential candidate Ron Paul.
Thank you very much for that very nice welcome. It sounds like the revolution has arrived to Michigan. I want to thank Ethan for giving me that nice introduction and for all his hard work for the students for Ron Paul, and I appreciate that very much. I appreciate the numbers that have come out. He said we could get a couple hundred. Yeah, but look, wow. Now, also would like to introduce that young lady that I married 55 years ago, Carol. and one of our grandchildren with us, and this is Linda at the companies. That's what I'm here. Thank you. The important issue to talk about, it's not very complicated. I guess we could have a lot of words to describe what we're trying to do, but I settled for one word, and that is liberty. And if we come around to understand where liberty comes from and what the responsibility of government is, I think that will result in the best chance of having peace and prosperity throughout the world. Today is no longer the country it was a few years back or a few decades back. It certainly isn't the republic that was intended by the Constitution. We no longer have a Republican form of government. And the founders were very adamant about it. They talked about a republic versus a pure democracy, and they had very bad feelings about a pure democracy where the 51% could gang up on the minority and dictate the rules of economics or the rules of personal behavior on the minority. And I'm afraid that's where we are today. But the spirit is alive. Let me tell you, in this country, more and more people now are waking up. The people like you are wide awake. You know what's wrong. You know what has to be done. Washington is sound asleep. What we need to do is make sure they hear us and make sure they know what the message is, and that is for liberty. Approximately 100 years ago, we embarked on a different direction. We virtually gave up on the Constitution, and it's been whittled away constantly ever since. And even in the last few years, it's gotten much worse. In spite of the people waking up and wanting something different, we still have a job cut out for ourselves, because Washington isn't hearing us, and they have not changed, but we will make a difference. We will make sure they hear this message. About 100 years ago, especially under the Woodrow Wilson administration, things certainly started in the wrong direction. Foreign policy was changed, accepting this so-called idealism of making the world safe for democracy. And look at the last 100 years. It hasn't been very safe. A lot of people have died, and there's less freedom in the world today, and there's less freedom in this country. Also, a few other things occurred in 1913. A couple things that we should reverse. One, for instance, is the 16th Amendment. I'd like to reverse it. I'd like to repeal it. If we understand truly the Jeffersonian approach to saying that, our life and our liberty comes from our Creator, the consequence ought to be that the fruits of our labor ought to be our own and not the government's. But also there was one other item that they passed in 1913, and every once in a while I mention, and that was the passage of the Federal Reserve Act. I'd like to repeal that as well.